make a short introduction.
Great. So it's synchronizing, so the screen is running.
Okay, thank you, Rob. Well, welcome to the meeting. My task here is just to coordinate and welcome all of you. I'm Artemis Cerdà from Valencia University, and I'm the cost action, we can say leader or chairman. And what we are trying to do with the FIRElinks is to connect all the people that are involved on forest fires, on fire in their system, which is more than forest fires, but mainly, especially now in summer, we only see fires in the forest. Our intention is that all the actors that are part of this topic of the fire in their system will be present in the meetings, from companies, academia, land owners, firefighters, and in our meetings, which this is, I think, the 8th in the year, this is what we try to do. Then thanks to Rolf for organizing all this in your university. We are very happy to be in Germany and talking about forest fires and drones and all these issues that are the future, because we usually see the problems but not the solutions. And I'm very happy that in this meeting you accept us to be here and talk about also equipment, also technology that can help us.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Artemis. Thank you so much. So, thank you for visiting us, and also thank you Saskia and Artemis for giving us the opportunity to host you here. It's really a fantastic opportunity for us also to get linked to you even deeper. Today we'll have a few presentations, right, just for the general introduction of you so that we know each other a bit better. Then we have a lunch break today and probably go to Mensa if it's open, I don't know. And tomorrow we will have an excursion to Wesel and also to the other campus of the university, but we will explain this later, and the Wednesday still has to be announced what we are going to do there, right? Okay, Jesus, you wanted to add something on FIRElinks.
Yeah, I'll introduce Jesus Rodrigo, who is the grant holder, the person who is managing. He is now at Granada University. Please come, Jesus. And he's going to be, next year, he's going to manage the construction from Granada. Now he's in Valencia, but we decided to move. He's there as a professor there in Granada University. Then I bring it a few presents. One is Jesus is organizing everything, and he is is FIRElinks, but he is a magician. He's a magician because there are two cups. One is for Rolf.
Fantastic.
Then is the FIRElinks. But
for a photo?
Okay, cool.
But you will see that in our meetings we are not too many people because we want to be a small group to interact, to create a family, a group of people that collaborate. Then this is not the end, is the Congress, the meeting is not the end, it's the beginning of your collaboration between all of you. Okay. Then really the construction was initiated by Saskia Kestet, who she submitted the first proposal, was not approved. But then she passed to me, and me and Stefan Doer, we work on this, some other people help, and then finally the European Union accepted that forest fire in their system is very important. A few years ago, there were no projects at the European level about fire. Fire was ignored completely. Now, probably FIRElinks is part of this history. There are more research on that, okay? We just push on this direction. Then Saskia is also organizing a congress called Terra Envision, and she brings a present for you.
For me?
Yeah.
I didn't attend it last time, I couldn't make it.
Well, but you have the opportunity because next year we'll be probably in the Netherlands.
Have it again next year in probably April, again in Utrecht.
In Utrecht?
Yeah. And then the year after is going to be in Granada.
But then next year in Granada, Jesus will talk about that. There will be a congress in July, beginning of July, about fire in their system. Because FIRElinks will end FIRElinks will end in 1.5 year. And then we want that this group that we created will keep going, and there are two initiatives. One is the Congress, FIRE in the system, and the other is the Global FIRE Partnership, who is Saskia leading, and we will talk about this. Because, you know, when we talk about FIRE, there are many people, for example, the ecologists, they see in Europe a great opportunity to recover our original forest. And then, but there are landowners that they want to have plantations. There are citizens that live in urbanizations, they don't want the fire, but fire is part of nature. Then we need to arrive to an agreement, and this is the Global Fire Partnership we need to arrive. And all these meetings is important.
Earlier this morning that in German you actually have two words for forest. One is a plantation forest, and the other one is a natural forest.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Wald and forest.
It's like that.
Yeah, many parts of Eastern Europe are plantations, are not forests. And with the climate change, what you have seen in the news about Spain now, that there are most of the countries and the fire, probably in 20, 30, 40 years, we will see in Eastern Europe, because the forests are not forests, are plantations. There are no diversity, no adaptation to forest fire. But let's go to what is important, the presents. Okay, I just bring this present for you.
Again.
Yeah, it's very, you know, it's, you, me, all of you, we spent most of our time measuring.
That's true.
It's true, huh? But, you know what? Yeah, but there is this German scientist. For us, for the physical geographers, is the origin of our discipline, who spent 90 years of his life doing measurements. Alexander von Humboldt is the real first modern scientist, okay? But at the end of his life, he wrote this. What speak to the soul, escape our measurement. Okay, then this is my present.
Thank you so much.
But we need to keep measuring, huh? When we will be 90 years old, we can say this. But until now, we need to measure to make science successful. Thank you very much for the organization.
Thank you so much.
Okay, Jesus.
Okay.
Now switch to the presentation.
Sí, lo que voy a hacer es enchufarme
Eso póntelo en negro.
Yo creo que sí.
Or here, if you like, right?
Ah, okay.
You look an actor from Hollywood.
Of course.
Yeah. Daily soap.
Of course.
Netflix.
Of course.
Jesus will introduce something from FIRElinks.
So then, thank you very much, Artemi and Rolf and Florian, for this nice presentation, nice introduction. And my introduction of this cost action and how and what and why are we here is just a few points just to know the new research lines and the new ideas growing within this action cost. It doesn't work. Up, up. As Artemi mentioned, I can continue talking. Yeah?
Here, it's this button. Press.
Mm. Okay. Okay. As Artemi mentioned, I am assistant professor at the University of Granada, and I am belonging to the regional geography department. Now I am regional geographer, and my main topic my main topic during my PhD and now also is vineyard, soil erosion, and land degradation processes. But since 2 years ago, I was working on fire because of this project, and I work for FIRElinks, and my work was linked to logistic things, organizing the meetings and managing the social media and the dissemination and so on. And also I participate in different collaboration and learning about processes and more related to soils. What is FIRElinks? The main goal of FIRElinks, of this cost action, just to know, The main idea is to connect stakeholders, scientists, and people with different backgrounds from different geographic locations, and also different approaches. But who are we? FIRElinks is a project, or is a part of a group of projects created for the COS Action, the European Cooperation in Science and Technology, and they have a lot of COS actions related to different topics: cancers, viruses, climate change, forest, biology, and so on. And this project, as Artemi mentioned, is about fire in the air system. The main idea of this COS action is, as Artemi mentioned, there was any European project linking and joining a lot of people working on the same topic, fire. But in this topic, there are a lot of backgrounds: engineers, biologists, ecologists, people working with firefighters, with new technologies, that all together can work in the same networking tool. And this is the idea of this COS action, FIRElinks. The chairman is Professor Artemi Cerdà, and the vice chair is Professor Stéphane Deux from France University. And they try to manage and organize the different meetings and collaborating with the different working group leaders. In all the COS action have different specialists, different experts related to specific topics, research topics of these different projects. For example, we have 5 different working groups. The first one is handled by Nieves Fernandez about modeling, fire modeling, and fire engineering topics. The working group 2 is managed by Joan Strain from University of Palma de Mallorca, of Mallorca, and he's working with biography, biota, plants, and interaction with geomorphological processes. There are different topics within this working group. Number 3 is organized by Irena Tanasova about soils and interaction with fire. Number 4 by Dragana Georgievich is about hydrological processes. And the last one, the working group number 5, is about social issues and regional perspectives. I am the working group leader of this topic, and also we organized a meeting the last February in Granada related to this topic, and came a lot of people from Turkey, Romania, Portugal, and it was a really diverse meeting, and our output was now a book. It is now in production, Springer. It's the first book, for example, about regional issues about management, fire management. There isn't. There are a lot of books about fire engineering, fire technologies, fuel, and so on, but not about regional issues and management. For example, from this working group, we had this output. And the main idea is from each meeting, the main goal is to get an output, one output. Also, we have one nice possibility within this COS action is the short-term scientific missions. It is a short stay. You get money to travel to another country. It's indispensable to travel to another country. And then you can spend between 1 week and 1 month or more, but you get maximum 2,500 euros, and you can make a little research. For example, in my case, when I was in Trier in Germany, I spent 1 month in Mallorca, a nice place to research, and I evaluated soil properties and soil profiles in 3 different land uses after forest fire. For example, it's a topic, and I spent all the August digging soil profiles to assess the different soil properties, and now we are preparing a publication, and also we were in some conferences showing the results. This is an output, and this is open until September. Just you have to apply with one short proposal, 1,000 words or something like that, and then you need a host approval and a home confirmation, and you can travel. Very easy, And for example, in Granada, I received one person in September, to launch one device about hydrological process and so on to assess one forest fire in Granada. For example, no? I can host people, and the people can make the research very free. That's why you are also invited to apply for this year and the next year. And also, we are working with the social media. People, the best point evaluated in the last report, and also, for example, in one national project, my national project, is the management of the social media. The European Union told us in the last report, and also, for example, in my project based on national database and also funded by a national bank, say the best point is the management of the social media. How many tweets? How many visits per tweet? And how many likes and retweets? Funny, but they evaluated. I wrote in the report how many interactions we had in every tweet, how, when, and they evaluated this very, very positive. That's why we try to make a nice dissemination in each meeting with photos and short videos, just to say we are working on it, because the main goal of a cost action is the creation of a networking tool. And now, the unique way to show in 24 hours, we are working one topic, to show 1,000 people how and in which topic we are working, is the social media. In one tweet, we are having almost 800, 1,000 interactions per day. That means 1,000 people around the world can see our meeting in 24 hours. It's the same when we are going to the field and digging a soil profile, in my certain scientific mission, the same. That's why we have to need, not like obsession, but we have to take photos and say, now it's presenting, blah, blah, blah, it's very important. And we have one person devoted to work on this, and also an Artemi working for the dissemination using the social media. We are stronger, I think, on Twitter, but we also have Facebook and YouTube, our YouTube channel, and also a web page. The meetings. The first year we had three meetings, the first year, and then we have the nice pandemic, and then all was over, all cancelled, and we enjoyed a total of 3 meetings, and then 1 year empty. And again this year we had meetings in Arnhem, here close to Kleve, and also in Granada, and also in Mallorca. And the main idea is to continue and to reinforce the face-to-face meeting again. Also, with the certain scientific missions, we strongly think that this is the best possibility to enhance the networking tool. A scientist can travel and then can make new contacts, and then can promote collaboration between universities, because we don't need agreements and bureaucracy, just a short proposal, and then you get the money, then you travel, that's it. Okay, we encourage the people to make these activities. Social media, this is our Twitter account. We are writing tweets in these 3 accounts, with Artemi, mine, and the FIRElinks cost. This is not official, but it's our, but we are also promoting our tweet. And also we have YouTube channel, and we are the people that we are working on these topics. Social media. We also have the post of the month. After the pandemic, it was also very active, and now it's also something stopped, but we are also open to receive post. Yeah, I am working on this project, or I published this article, and in this article we develop, and we receive 500, 600 visits when we publish this post. Then we are trying to catch the people, but the people, I don't know, they don't want to send information, but we are open to receive also your publication, your ideas, and can be shared in our website. Also, we have money to fund publications in open access. In 3 years, we didn't receive any proposal. And the money directly again to Brussels. You know? It's another opportunity. Also, for countries, associated countries like Turkey or now Ukraine or Georgia and so on, we have money to fund the congresses, the travels. Only one person applied for this in 3 years. We have the money. We have to use it. How can I participate? In our website, we have here one place just to register with your email, your interest, in which working group you want to work, and then you will receive our FIRElinks newsletters. I am in charge of this, and every 3 weeks or 2 weeks, I send an email, okay, there is a special issue about this, there is a new position about this, postdocs or tenure track or something like that. We are trying to promote this and enhancing. We have now more than 700 people in our email list. Then I think it's a good opportunity to be and to keep in touch. When you want to promote a paper or something like that, it's also a place to do it. The new Congress, as Artemi mentioned, from this networking tool, Artemi thought that it could be a good possibility to launch an international meeting related to forest fire and also fire in the air system. It is not only forest fire. And the last year it took place in Valencia, but it was a hybrid meeting. But the next year in Granada, we plan to make a really face-to-face meeting, and the web page is now updated, and I can share with you top secret information. But now we have, yeah, please, yeah, now cut, please, because now you can see the number of sessions 1 year before the meeting. Now we are with the call of session, and you can see we have more than 15 sessions with people around the world. We have a session about Savannah, about the Eastern fire, Central Europe forest fire. There weren't sessions about Central European forest fire in the past in other meetings, and now we have one with people from Austria and Germany, for example. We have sessions about artificial intelligence and machine learning, because here there are specialists about this. We have also, here in the list above, there is a new proposal about remote sensing techniques. We have a lot of different topics, and they will be all together in Granada. And maybe as a new point, we are not limiting the number of abstracts for the session. If we have one abstract or one oral presentation, that's okay. There will be a session about this, and then we pass to the next one. It's not a problem. That's why we are very open for a lot of topics, and all the people can be there. And we will have 3 days meeting in Granada in July. Very hot, but Granada is a wonderful city. And also 2 days post-conference with field trips in Sierra Nevada, and another one close to peri-urban areas of Granada. We have a big forest fire there in the peri-urban area. And also 1 day excursion through Granada, visiting the Alhambra, the Albaicín, the nice places of the Arabian places in Granada. It's a fantastic opportunity. No? Yeah, then it's a perfect. And now we have people from USA, from Australia, from Germany, from around the world. That I think it could be a nice possibility to visit a nice place, spend some days in Spain, and then make new connections. Also, we will have several special issues, and now I try to enhance our journal in our department, an open access journal, the Cuadernos Geográficos, and the guest editors are Stefan Doer and Paulo Fernandez and me. but Stefan Deur and Paulo Fernandes are top scientists in fire, no? And they accepted also to be guest editor, but because we thought, okay, we can make a special issue like all the people in NDPI or Frontiers and to make all open access. But why not in a local journal, index it, and then all the people can promote it? We can accept, I'm not the editor, the guest editor, but it's in my department and it's open access, and now the next year, I don't know if you know, but the next year, all the journals will have impact factor. Then Cuaderno Geográfico is the same. We have all the people indexing in emerging citation index, we have impact factor. Maybe 0.3, but it will be. It will have. That's why Cuadernos will have. It's a nice opportunity to have an open access publication about one interesting topic coming from the meeting.
It is also like this, that this journal does not have publication fee.
No, zero.
Open access.
Zero.
This is a key
Yeah,
benefit
yeah,
compared to the other
yeah.
open access journals that you pay a lot of money.
Our university
And
pays.
This one is open access and for free.
Yes, that's why
Yeah.
I think it's an advantage to publish. Yeah, I make here a lot of publicity. Rolf is laughing, but yeah.
You're a good salesman.
No, but yeah, but we are trying to look for the different advantages for the scientists. Now, not all the people coming from Turkey, Romania, or even for Spain have projects to pay 2,500 euros for a publication, because and we are scientists and we need to show our results in open access, and all the people coming from Southern America, Africa, China can read our publications about forest fire or about fire. And now we're trying to do.
This issue of open access from a university or public organization is probably what we did in the last 30 years. In the last 30 years, we lost a lot of journals that were organized, were launched edited by the university, and we concentrate all our efforts in journals that are from the private sector, from big international companies in which we pay, we review, we edit for nothing, all the business is for the company. And that we lost our heritage in publications that are sometimes asking to develop. And I think now with the open access, we can recover many journals that were lost in the last 30 years. Because they are for free and they are open access. Then you reach everybody.
Yep.
Yeah, this can be a good example.
It's not, for example, we can after that organize other special issues if other people want to publish in a stronger impact factor journal or higher impact factor journal. It's not a problem. But now we are offering this possibility with this argument. Open access, free, local.
But also the Congress is open to other
Yeah.
journals
Yeah.
from other universities.
Yeah.
For example, if your university want to publish a special issue on drones assessing forest fire, can be done.
Yeah.
No problem. Meanwhile, this will be not possible in a Congress where Elsevier or Copernicus or Willy will have the power to control
all the publication. That's why we, for example, Sage will be invited. Sage, the American editorial with a lot of journals, also will be there, because I am chief editor of one journal of Sage, Air, Soil and Water Research, and I invited the editorial to have a point there to sell the journals and special issue and so on, but not the special issue for the meeting. This is the main idea. And now we are trying also to start the research about fire in our university, and I am here since 2021. That's why we are trying to promote this research. And now we submitted a proposal in our incipient group in our department, the Environmental Geography and Mapping group, created from our Terra Lab laboratory. And the main idea is to combine in situ measurements and aerial photo interpretation. And the main idea is to, with this short-term scientific mission, one guy from your institution will come to Granada, and we launch this device, the HiProp, to conduct different sampling to assess the water retention capacity, and we will cross this information with remote sensing techniques. We are now trying to work with drones. And another key point, this is the study area, the Valle del Lecrín. We make an excursion in Granada in the last Working Group 5 meeting, and in this Valle del Lecrín. And the main key point here is, because you can ask, okay, Jesus is working on vineyards, why fire? In this place, the unique places that they were not burned were the vineyards and the almonds orchards. The rest, all burned. Why? The management, the use of barriers to keep the fire stopped, I don't know. But I don't know, and you don't know. That's why we have submitted a proposal to research how and which factors are controlling the forest fire, and in this case, the fire crossing the different land uses. And for the first time, I think, this enterprise, Auravant, they are working with precision agriculture. They offer me, they work with precision agriculture, and they monitor the different NDVI indices and vigor, plant vigor, and so on, for crops, for cereals, for maize, for vines, and so on. But they offer me to monitor this area to assess the change, the different vegetation patterns and water stress and so on, crossed with our measurements directly there. Then we will cross remote sensing techniques, applied for agriculture, precision agriculture directly in forest fire. And then we will see what's happened every day with the remote sensing techniques, and what's happened with our in situ measurements when the College of Janis come to Granada, launch this device, this HiProp, to assess the water retention capacity curve to see how it's working. And also we will control the soil organic carbon in these areas, just to assess the differences among the almond orchards, vineyards, and the burnt areas. This is our submitted research proposal. It's a small funded proposal in our university, but they are also very interested to work on this topic, because in Granada now we are experiencing forest fire. Also in the past, but now with more energy. That's why we want to start this research, and let's see what's happened if we get these funds in October, November. And that's it. This is my presentation, divided into 3 parts. And now also I am very open to learn how and which topic you are working, and also if you are interested to apply for these different funds from the cost action, I'm also open to explain you how and when and so on. So.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Do you have any questions?
If not, we are here. We can talk. It's just flexible. This is also the key topic in this kind of meetings. We are not so exigent with the time, and this is a flexible meeting to talk and to discuss, and we don't have to say, in 1 o'clock we have to close. No, we can discuss, and also after the meeting we can drink a nice beer, a nice lemon beer.
We have, of course, beer. It's in the fridge. Alcohol free and with alcohol, and we also have Fassbrause. So we have a break later, right, and then we can enjoy some drinks. So what I see is really that. So my background is different. I'm not an ecologist, and I'm kind of environmental physicist and technician, you can say. But we are related to, for example, firefighters, and what we see is basically yeah, really a conflict of interest, right? Because also now you read in the newspapers that also Germany is now turning into a forest fire country, right? Which is relatively new. Of course, there were forest fires before, but not as much as now, right? It's very pronounced due to the droughts and due to climate change, and that's now getting it. We are not prepared for that. Be it on the side of firefighting in forests, for example. So we need helicopters to extinct the fire, to carry water, or to have these large planes, right, carrying water and so on. But also from an organizational perspective, it seems to be very difficult. So I was recently at the Czech border where the fire now started a few weeks ago, and we were there shortly before the fire started, and we saw how it evolved, right? You saw a small fire first on the Czech side, forest fire, and that was already scaring. And we thought, okay, they might be able to fight it, right, and to somehow confine it, but they were not able to. And then it took over to the other forests also on the German side. So it's basically one large national park, which is shared between the Czech Republic and Germany. And then the forest fire continued also on the German side. And then I heard, for example, that helicopters not from that federal state, but from other federal states, because Germany is a federal republic. So we have 16 federal states with regional governments. That makes sometimes life difficult, even within Germany, between the different federal states. But concerning the firefighting, so they organized some helicopters from the police, but also from firefighting, I think, or emergency. And they carried these big bags with 5 tons of water. And then they helped the colleagues in the Czech Republic to extinguish the fire, but they were not allowed to refill the bag on the Czech part of the river Elbe, right? The Labe. What is the English name of Elbe? So they had to fly to the German part of the Elbe to recharge, so to refill the water containers, and then fly to the Czech Republic to help the colleagues, right? And then, it took 2 days or so, but there had to be a political decision that they are allowed to really refill the containers, right? And that's really stupid. And I think in real life, so we are maybe looking from a ecological perspective on it, but it has a social dimension, right? It has a economical dimension, and I think there are a lot of conflicts. And I'm really happy that tomorrow we will visit the operations center for emergency and firefighting in the county of Wesel, the district of Wesel. So these are really practitioners. So we will talk to the firefighters there. I also got into contact with the firefighters of Enschede, of the Twente region in the Netherlands, because they have a drone team which is very progressive, I would say, very ahead. But unfortunately, they are on holidays. They don't have time to really to join the meeting, let's say, right? But I would really suggest to have maybe a video call later, not within this meeting now, but maybe we can organize it in the FIRElinks network, because Martijn Zachwijn, Hamed knows him very well, I think. What he's contributing in our meetings, also concerning applications of drones for early warning and also for surveillance and basically monitoring the situation, is really, really impressive. So there you can see that also drones are now entering the practice of firefighting. So it's more on, let's say, surveillance and early detection and so on, less on really extinction of fires. Good, so I would also contribute a presentation. And my background is not really, oh, what's that? That's the wrong, oh, wow. I think, where is it? Okay, anyway, so I think it's okay to start from here, right? Okay, so forget the title page. So Florian, would you please join me to tell a bit about the university, because I have the microphone, otherwise it's a bit difficult. So Florian and me, so we are from Hochschule Rhein-Waal University of Applied Sciences. So, and the website is hsrw.eu. That's the short form, which you can also memorize maybe. And Florian is working on Campus Kleve, where we are currently are. And I'm working on Campus Kamp-Lintfort. So this university was founded in 2009, and we were two of the first professors, I think, number 5 and number 6 or so, of all of us. So we saw this also growing. And so maybe you can tell us a little bit about the numbers and the idea of this internationalization, and that we are a public university, for example.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, first of all, welcome also to Campus Kleve and to these facilities which belong to the Faculty of Life Sciences. This is our tropical greenhouse where we do teaching, but also research in programs related to agriculture, biological resources in particular. But we also do a lot of outreach here. So we have, I don't know how many hundreds of visitors per year, thousands. So we combine research, teaching, and outreach here at that university. Yeah, we have here at the Campus Kleve, we have 3 faculties. Faculties of Life Sciences, where we focus on, as I said, agricultural sciences, but also other natural sciences subjects such as health-related study programs, bioengineering, quality management, safety management, food science, and health issues also in the master's level. We have Faculty of Technology and Bionics here at the campus, which I would say is the classical German faculty with engineering science, but also studies related to some more special things such as bionics, just to mention a few. And we have the 3rd faculty here, which is social science and economics. So you see we are a broad university of applied sciences with about 120 professors in total, about I think 6,000 students or so. And the very special thing about this university as a public university and relatively young is that about 50% of our students are from abroad. As we have bachelor studies in English already, and about 70% of our study programs are in English. So that's why we attract a lot of students from all over the world. More than 130 countries are represented here at our university. So likely the countries you come from, we have a few students here as well. That's making that very special, and there's possibilities on bachelor's and master's level also to cooperate. As a lot of these courses are in English, it's relatively easy. Yeah, I think that's sufficient regarding our university, Campus Kleve here. Maybe you want to add a few words on Kamp-Lintfort?
Yes, I would like to, yeah. Okay, thank you, Florian. So yeah, Kamp-Lintfort is the other campus, which is a bit further south, 50 kilometers away from here, and we have just one faculty, but this faculty is super broad. So we offer psychology, we offer economics, so business administration, mobility and logistics, infotronics, system engineering, environment and energy. So it's super broad, also on bachelor's and on master's level. So I personally, so many people ask themselves, so where are we? So this is a kind of map of Germany, and most people know about Munich, right? Because of the Oktoberfest, and they know Berlin, because that's our capital maybe, right? And we are in the federal state of North Rhine-Westphalia. I haven't drawn the borders here. And the biggest city in North Rhine-Westphalia is Köln, but the capital of North Rhine-Westphalia is Düsseldorf. And we are here close to the Dutch-German border, which we appreciate a lot. This is also one of the reasons why I know Saskia Kistra, because that allows us to do Interact projects. You probably know them. Yeah, European-funded collaboration projects of economical development. And we had quite a few, and that was pretty successful, I would say. Okay, my personal view on this university is what I really love is that we are learning in an inspiring atmosphere. So international students, these are some impressions from the Fab Lab in Kamp-Lintfort, which we will visit tomorrow. And what I really like is that students help themselves, right? So mutually. And so I would love to be just a moderator of training, of teaching and learning. So I would also, I want to try to develop my teaching in this direction, so that I basically teach less frontal, but let the students also train themselves. But it's a long way, right? I'm far away from that still. So what I personally love a lot, and what I'm also kind of proud of, you can say, is that the Fab Lab, so we are running a lot of workshops in the Fab Lab together with schools. And this is a 3D printer which we built with students from schools, with pupils, and in workshops in the Fab Labs, and then they can take that printer home to their schools and use it for digital fabrication. So we have been spreading digital fabrication in local schools here. And from that, really, a school Fab Lab network emerged with more than 20 schools. So what we see is that we have to start early, really, to attract talents, right? To convince young, bright minds to go for science, technology, math and engineering, and even arts, right? So STEAM. And that's also a way how we promote ourselves, I would say, right? And so my background is basically, so don't look on that to that slide. So I'm physicist, environmental physics, right? My teaching basically covers environmental physics, programming, wireless sensor networks, geodata management systems, a little bit of machine learning, AI, and so on. So basically, I try to really cover really the whole chain from building our own sensors to data transmission, data storage, geodata, graphical information systems, to web dashboards and analysis. And I love to use drones for that, right? And one of the researches we're currently doing, this is an example of a bachelor thesis. This is the plant is called Jacobea vulgaris. It's an invasive species, you can say, which is spreading in Germany quite a lot. And this is a problem for agriculture because this plant is poisoning. And so when you usually, if you have cattle or animals on meadows or grasslands, they usually avoid this plant because it tastes bitter. But when you produce silage or fodder, then this can cause a lot of problems, and even this is a very harmful plant, and even animals suffer a lot or even die from that, right? And we want to use artificial intelligence, so machine learning, to identify these plants. So that's a bachelor thesis, as I said, and that was relatively successful. So we have now the tool chain running, but the performance parameters are still not satisfying. But it's difficult, as you can see. You are trying to detect a green plant in a green ocean of grass. But we are working on it. I know when we would like to really combine this artificial and this machine learning approach, right? I don't like this term artificial intelligence, because this intelligence is only artificial. So it's rather machine learning. So we train systems to identify or to detect objects in images, for example. That's what we are doing, right? And we would like to combine that also with drones. And another activity, as I told you, so I really like this machine learning approach, this artificial intelligence approach, but technology basically for the good, right? So AI for the common good, that's what I'm interested in. So not just AI for itself, but to support, for example, precision agriculture or ecology or conservation and so on. And we are currently running also a workshop again with schools, and we are building nest boxes of birds, and we are installing cameras here, which you can't see here. So we developed our own boards for taking, it's a kind of webcam approach, you can say, where we are taking images from the birds. And what we want, our intention is basically to create a crossover between technology and, let's say, ecology, biology, life sciences, because we believe that that first of all, this life science approach makes sense, right? It's satisfying to work in these fields also for children. They want to do something good. They want to save the world. And on the other hand, it also attracts people who are maybe more geeks, right? Who are more in technology. So we think that in the combination or the mixed groups with on a school level would lead to a more broader view on, let's say, yeah, ecological problems maybe, but also to solutions. So yeah, and but I would call my own research, let's say, Earth observation research maybe, yeah. For example, for conservation and farming, and here are some other images, some other impressions of the workshop. Here you see then the children soldering the PCBs. Here they are cutting wood. So it's really broad, right? And they have to program as well. That's one of the teachers here in one of my labs, which in the lab we will visit this tomorrow. And so recently we were at a conference, so 2 weeks ago, where we presented our approaches to enable or to, let's say, to reduce the complexity of AI so that it can be taught in schools, even maybe in primary schools. And so that's an activity where we combine a graphical-oriented programming language which can be used by children with an AI running on another system. And we will give a demonstration tomorrow. And we are also using these little drones, telo drones, together with this programming language Snap. But what I find is more important is that we use these telo drones and use the video stream of this camera as a flying webcam, you can say, and feed it into an NVIDIA Jetson computer here, where we can do object detection in real time with 25 frames per second or so. But we will give a demonstration on this tomorrow. But the idea is basically to really combine drones with artificial intelligence to do something useful. And we think we can do this also, we can extend this also to, let's say, wildfires. And Hamed, I think, is working in this field. I've never seen a presentation of you, but you will give a presentation later, I think. And I think we can also discuss it in more detail tomorrow when we are in Camp Lindfort in the Fab Lab. And there we will also give some demonstration how to operate drones. I don't know how familiar you are with that. And I hope that we can also provide, let's say, some of the small tele drones which you then control with your smartphone, and it's just fun to do that, right? Yeah, so that's a bit the idea I have concerning my research. I can give you a few other examples. Yeah, I should also tell you a bit about the program and the schedule. So this is a proposal of a schedule approximately. So first of all, I have so I'm responsible for the Earth Observation Lab and the Drone Lab and the IoT Lab of the university. And so we have a wiki because it's easy to use. And I added here some information on this meeting, a Google Calendar, for example, and here also the first video stream. So when you open that link, you will see with a short delay that we are online, as you can see now. That's on YouTube. Right, and what I wanted to show you here is basically we have a few blocks of presentations. And at 13 o'clock, we'll have a meeting with a company which provides sensors for early wildfire detection. I don't know them, but a friend of mine, a colleague in the team, met them on a conference, and I thought it would be interesting for us to learn what their approach is. So they are deploying basically sensors in the forest. They use a long-range data transmission, but still it's very difficult to achieve that. And they claim that they can cover really large areas of forest for early detection of wildfires. So I'm really curious. So we will have a video conference today, which I still have to set up. So I don't know how long we will talk today. Maybe we can have a discussion and a get-together in the afternoon here. Unfortunately, I have to leave early, but tomorrow we'll meet here again at 9 o'clock just to pick you up. We have two minivans to travel to Wesel, and there we will visit the district control center for fire and emergency. And after that, we go to the campus Camp Lindfort, have a lunch break, and then I will give a tour through the IoT lab and the Fab lab on campus. And then we also have a green Fab lab where we can, with a nice garden, a large area of 2,500 square meters, and there we can fly drones, right? So we will have a drone demo and data processing demo, and you can maybe play yourself a bit. And there is enough space really for a get together and talk, and that's, I think, pretty cool. And my suggestion is also to meet tomorrow evening, maybe at 7 o'clock, downtown Kleve, maybe in Königsgarten or another place, I don't know, but this is really nice. It's a nice beer garden, and they have good food. And they have good food. And as you can see, Wednesday is still completely open, so that's something Saskia and me have to decide what to do. I will also try to get, so this morning I had a phone call with some foresters of this region here. So I hope that we can talk to them tomorrow to learn from practitioners who are basically cultivating the plantation. You call this a plantation. I think it's more than a plantation, but anyway, so this designed forests and how they manage it, right? And how they also see the challenges which are now coming up because of these strong forest fires we are now facing in Germany and the climate change, right? So that's a little bit on the organization. I think, did I forget anything? Yeah.
In Spain, it will be impossible to make a call to make to the firefighters to come because they are working. And thank you, Florian, and you for organizing this, because especially in summer it's very, very difficult.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, but maybe it changes in 10 years, right? Maybe the firefighters are in the forests. You never know. Under changing environments, right? Because
changing, not just changing in
yeah.
really physical change in the environment because of climate change, but also positive change in environment.
Yeah.
And that is something that they will need to deal with one way or the other. And I would really be interested to know whether they even know that this is coming towards them, and if they do, then how they are planning to deal with it. Because, for instance, especially the biodiversity strategy is really going to make a big difference, I think, in the management of a place like a forest. Actually, really, it's a wonderful word. I just learned I'm very enthusiastic about this kind of word.
But it's very, very difficult. We have regulations in forests in Germany which have been existing before there was the idea of the European Union, and they are still in place. So meaning that you have a lot of limitations to change. There are some of the trees which are likely to grow better here are planted foreign trees and are not welcome. And that is still in the regulation from 1920 or 18 something. So there is a lot of change needed to really get that transformation towards a climate resilient forestry system. So that's a very good point, because I think next to farming in Germany there's one more conservative, let's say, area of activity which is forestry, even more than agriculture. Which is also very conservative and slow in changes, so it's a big part. And still a lot of the forests in North Rhine-Westphalia, I think 50% of the area is state-owned and 50% is private-owned. And that's of course also quite an issue how to manage that transformation in this.
And also how they interact with the forest owners that are not state.
Exactly,
How they go about changing in management with landowners that they don't have clear control other than the regulations
Yeah, you see, this is a recently, I think, 5 days ago, I think it's from the 10th of August, I think, is this publication, which is now forest fire prevention and fighting in North Rhine-Westphalia in the federal state. So here you see that's basically an expression of the view of the state foresters, the public foresters, right? And I would really like to learn more about this. So you see very practical issues they have addressed and some measures they would like to take. I think this is very interesting to see, and that of course probably also is in the field of multi-criteria decisions taking or conflicts of interest, right? Okay. I think concerning the work of the Earth Observation Lab, I can show it to you tomorrow, because here we have a nice page on really summarizing all our activities on drones and robots and so on, but that's something we can discuss tomorrow. Now, Florian would like to tell us a bit about his labs and his work. Okay, that should do it. Please take the microphone. Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, even though Rolf and I started the same year, almost the same month at this university, and became good friends and started working in projects, my perspective and background is somewhat different. I suffered the most from the engineering subjects I had to take in my study program in agriculture. So I'm not really into IT, etc., which you will also see from my presentation. But I'm a trained agricultural scientist. I studied organic agriculture with a focus on tropical, subtropical agriculture, both of which is still developing in the region. Yeah, so we get more and more subtropical crops now actually developing in this region. And organic farming is at 2% of the area, and there are initiatives to increasing that. But nonetheless, we work in different systems, not only in agriculture, but also in forest. For example, in Kyrgyzstan, we have in Central Asia a big project where we also work in forest systems, and more and more also in combined systems such as agroforestry, which are traditionally been used in many parts of Europe, but especially being investigated by the scientific community in the tropics and subtropics. And now it's becoming more interesting also for the temperate regions to combine perennials, trees, with annual crops. In my group, where I'm responsible for soil science and plant nutrition, we work on integrated nutrient management. So trying to improve matter flows, nutrient flows, and the nutrient stoichiometry of ecosystems at different scales. And the different scales are the regional level, the local level, and actually also the plant-soil interaction level, even down to the microbes. On the regional assessment level, we do things like assessing budgets of a certain region. For example, the district of Kleve here, we did an assessment of the biomass inflow and outflow and the internal fluxes to quantify the budget for nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, and partly for carbon, to understand why do we have these issues with too much nitrogen, too much phosphorus in this region. As in the Netherlands, it's also a big issue for many years already. So that's one line we work on, basically, using relatively simple approaches, evaluating the statistics available, doing certain assumptions and calculating budgets, doing interviews with farmers, with stakeholders. That's the more difficult part for a soil scientist, as I usually do not talk to my organisms in the soil, but then we have to talk to people. In this context, we also work on secondary fertilizer, soil conditioner, such as struvite, which is a phosphorus fertilizer derived from wastewater streams. We work on biochar, insect frass, and actually in the context of char, we applied also for a European grant in it wasn't EJP, I don't know, it was ERANET on soil with Stefan Dörr. We were not successful, unfortunately, but so that's where there's a connection to Stefan Dörr, and Stefan Dörr is actually also known by another colleague of mine, Neil Shirtcliffe, who worked with him in the UK. So there is another connection which we have here, which is great. So these secondary fertilizer which derive from the different streams we test basically here in our greenhouse and our lab to see how they work, how they affect plants in terms of nutrient uptake, in terms of growth, in terms of health, but also how they affect the soil ecosystem. And biochar, for example, is a very common approach of making use of waste streams and trying to improve soils. But we also observe some effects which we don't understand, and there are different kinds of char. Another line is where we try to look at the flows over time in space of carbon and nutrients, in particular nitrogen, in cropping systems, but also in agroforestry systems. And we try to do that quantitatively. So, for example, one approach where we use this is looking at the cropping sequence of major crop, cover crop, major crop, to see how much of the nitrogen can be captured by these cover crops and then transferred to the next crop. A line of research which now has been done for a couple of years. And then even further down, trying to use stable isotopes to really trace quantitatively the carbon input, the nitrogen uptake into the microbial community, to be able to quantify in perspective also the contribution of the plant carbon input to carbon sequestration in the soil. As you can see, we haven't really worked on fire effects yet, but some of the approaches and tools we have surely are also relevant in the context of fires. On the lowest level, I would say, we work on the stoichiometry of the microbial community. So we're trying and work on developing a method to determine the ionome of the soil microbial community, so the elemental composition of the microbial community, and trying to link that to the functionality. You may have heard of Liebig's law in plant nutrition, so that you need a certain combination of essential elements to have the optimal function of an organism, of a plant. The same applies also for microbes, we believe, and therefore we work on this, trying to figure out which elements are present, which elements do these organisms need to be most efficient transferring the carbon that is captured by the plants into their biomass and into, finally, soil organic matter. Now, the link to fire, I would say, is that a fire destroys these microbes. Many of them will die. Some may survive. You burn some of the carbon, you create other carbon forms which are not as easily available for the microbes. So the whole function of soils in capturing carbon, storing carbon is disrupted. And the question is there also change of the stoichiometry? Some of the nitrogen will be gone, sulfur will be gone. You have some of the trace elements remaining. You have probably also changes of pH, which will massively affect how the microbes, after restoration of the ecosystem, will make use of carbon. So we know from salinity research, which we do for many years already, that the microbes become extremely inefficient. So they burn more of the carbon. Yeah, so they eat a bar of chocolate and most of it will be gone and transpired, whereas only little will end up in the soil and in the system. And for the focus in soil research is to try to maintain organic matter in the soil or build up soil organic matter. The microbes are key. And if we understand them better, we may be able to also steer them in the right direction. And we believe that this is also related to how they can make use of the different other elements. We do that in lab experiments with a range of simple tools up to more complex devices such as ICP OES for the elemental analyses. We do greenhouse experiments here in these facilities, and we do field trials and on-farm research with farmers in the region. But also abroad, we have some research going on in West Africa, in East Africa, in Central Asia, next to the research we do here. We do plant analyses with a range of tools. We will look above ground, but in particular below ground, into the roots, trying to quantitatively assess the below ground part of plants, of annuals mainly, but now getting more into perennials in the context of our agroforestry research. We do a bit of soil physics, but just the basics, and we do a range of soil chemical analyses, often connected to what we mainly focus on, which is soil biological assessments, and there we look at activity parameters, at quantitative assessment of the whole community, and we look into the community structure as well, mainly focusing on the main domains, and then in association with partners such as Wageningen University and others, also sometimes doing sequencing and other stuff to look into more details there.
Yeah, do you also, or do you know when you start, like this, what is it?
Stoichiometry, yeah, difficult word.
Very difficult word.
After 2-3 beers, it's easy.
Gets better. Has ever been done after, like, post-fire?
I don't know. I haven't really found time to do some research on that.
How much the soil microbes would be affected by that?
Yeah, this line of research on the stoichiometry of the microbial community is relatively new. So the traditional focus was on CN, maybe sometimes phosphorus. And we published a review article on microbial sulfur last year and found out that there's extremely little research on how much sulfur is actually stored in the microbial community in the soil, which is astonishing because of the important role of sulfur in agriculture, but also in forest systems, where we know that in the 80s we had this acid rain issue with too much sulfur, and now we have a limitation of sulfur, but there's very little research on that. So that's why I guess there's no research on this stoichiometry after forest fire, or very little, and then mainly CN, maybe CNP. But yeah, you change the whole ratio of these elements, and especially nitrogen, sulfur, which are needed in high quantities, might be very low. And the question is how this will then affect the regrowth of the microbial community in the soil. I don't know.
I don't know whether they even die, because the soil doesn't heat enough in a post-fire event. So
But it dries out.
They would have, maybe dries out, but it could also be that there will be more nutrients available because of the burning. I don't know.
Especially base cations, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Scientists they found that the soil, from a microbiological point of view, 1 year after the fire is better than before.
Depends on the temperature, probably, and duration.
But in general, the temperature of the soil does not change in the first few millimeters.
Okay.
Because especially if the soil is dry, which is quite usual in summer, then the transfer of the heat is very good.
Mm. Yeah.
Also, it is usually the worst forest fire are the ones that have also wind, because you cannot stop the wind burn large areas because the wind helps. Correct, but the wind also helps to don't make that the wave of heat go down, because it dissipates.
Mm.
Then we still need to learn a lot. With remote measurements, every ecosystem is different. Probably in the Mediterranean, where most of the research has been done, soil and the microbiota is adapted to these periods of heat, but not in the north of Europe. Still, many things that we need to respect.
Yeah, in my diploma thesis way back, we did investigations in Oman, which is a desert country, and we investigated soils which have been prone to drought for different periods of time. So either a year prone to drought, or 5 years, 10, 20, or 50 years. And we saw that a time span of 5 years is not a big issue for the microbial community. So it can stay dry, field dry, without rain really in that part of the world, for up to 5 years, and recover quickly after re-moistening, having the same functionality as a community which was basically unaffected by drought. And the same is probably also true then under these conditions, that during the drought conditions where the fires prevail, the microbes are in a dormant status anyway, and then they are not affected by the heat, so they can recover relatively quickly probably after the fire, and then benefit from the nutrients that are available as long as carbon is present.
Also, the fauna is usually adapted to the site. Most of the rodents, insects, amphibians, reptiles, they move inside the soil. They allow the fire to pass and they go on. And this is because what we say usually is that the problem is not the fire. The problem is the big fire, mega fire. Because when this fauna comes back to the surface, they found that there is a land with no explosives, nothing to eat. But if the fires would be a small one, this is, would disturb, the ecosystem would be not disturbed. The problem is, one of the problems we have is that the large fires, or mega fires, are getting more usual than the urban abandonment, climate change, climate change. Yeah, but there is also a world that it says we have still very little information.
Yeah, so there are possibilities to hook up with, maybe on a lower level with master thesis or whatever, and we are always welcome to host also guest scientists here. We have some nice funding lines in Germany, the DAAD, which allows funding for a couple of months for scientists at different levels, even for students. And then we have the Alexander von Humboldt Foundation for scientists, which is a very good option also for people coming from abroad to Germany. I usually host some of them from time to time. So there are possibilities. You're invited if you like. Is also a possibility. Yeah. So this is a range of the methods we use, working on currently not on fire, but I'm happy to join the fire brigade, so to say, in this regard.
You know, we need to learn a lot about the biota. So the biota will inform us about the role of fire in the ocean. Because biota and fire, they evolve together. And then I'm sure that there is a lot of responses from the biota about the interaction with forest fire. Some colleagues from Spain, they found that fungi multiply by 1,000,000 after the forest fire. If the intensity of the fire is not very high, they take advantage of all the organisms. They are no competition. They are the first ones. And then they have, for example, the soil get a good temperature because the sun radiation, even in winter, when they do not grow. But in winter you don't have vegetation that covers the soil, then you have the solar radiation, then the heat. The soil is warm, then they grow very quickly.
That's quite relevant and also for carbon maintenance in the system or built up again, because we know that fungi play an important role in that line of carbon sequestration. And it seems to be that fungi create more persistent microbial necromass, which is one component of the soil organic matter in these systems.
And also after forest fire, you have different types of organic matter. And fungi can take advantage of this because you have recalcitrant carbon, charcoal, which is a large percentage. And then they have different sources of organic matter.
And also in Granada, you are open to send one student to Granada, and you can collect, for example, in our chapter 2, almond, wine, was the second one, for the fire, and the course is in German.
I will try it out myself. Yeah. I always wanted to start some research in vineyards, but the next.
This interaction between plant soils, and we are working on this, but related to soil erosion, but related to soil properties and biota, as Artemi mentioned.
Yeah.
There is really few studies related to this and processes. Because Artemi and me, for example, we are working on processes during the time, depending on the rainfall and depending on temperature, as Artemi mentioned. But usually, as I understand, I read in different publications, this type of study is more or less visual in different specific moments of your use. No? You take the sample, and then you assess when we are measure, for example, color those kind of activation, each rainfall level, each rainfall, each management, almost final, abandoned, and also burn arrow in case is missing. Maybe it's another question to be evaluated in the future. No? Processes combined with specific sample content.
Yeah, we always link our analyses to also processes such as carbon flow, nutrient flow, because that's the relevant, these are the relevant functions in many ecosystems, and not just describing what we observe, but trying to link that to carbon, nitrogen flows, and some other functions such as aggregation sometimes as well. So that would make a link here, which I also find interesting.
We even have a food flight from Gizzi to Malaga.
Okay, so easy, should start.
The
Yeah.
only problem in Granada, the nightlife for the students is so good that probably they will not come
They
back.
will not come back. Okay.
You know, it's, there are students in Spain that they go on purpose by train to Granada for the nightlife and come back. It's very famous.
Okay.
It could be the students that take
Okay, so then I will go there instead of my students. I take Rolf maybe. So you're really advertising this cooperation. That's great. Start thinking about how to.
Yeah. Also realize that one of the working groups of FIRElinks is about the interaction with specifically targeted to biomass. So and this working group could benefit a lot from your experience, and really very difficult. Really consider to shift your work to the current area.
Yeah, thank you. I'm in and out today because I have to take an exam with students, etc. So I will be out and in again. When I'm in, you can use the hotspot of my computer, but I'm afraid I will be half an hour. And then
When are you back?
I think it's working every round. Every round is working well.
yeah, not for you.
For scientists, sorry.
As long as the mic works.
So we can also have a short coffee break, and we only have less of the time is 30 seconds. Yeah.
I would suggest to have a final presentation before lunch, okay?
Yeah.
Ezra, would you like to present your stuff? Because then I'm running out of presentations on my laptop here. Oh yes. Oh sorry. Who's first? I'm sorry.
I can go after the lunch.
Yeah? Okay, sorry. Oh Saskia. Oh.
Yeah, no problem. But the other
That is a faux pas.
Did you prepare something? Okay, we all have.
Yeah, but I think one before lunch, right? And we have a lunch break until 13 o'clock, and then I hope that they can arrange this video conference with the company, telling us about sensors for.
Can we just have like a 5 minutes?
Yes, of course.
Break, coffee break.
Absolutely.
Yeah, just
5 minutes break. I also need a drink. former master students who developed the laser scanner, drone-borne laser scanner, and you also developed the tree segmentation algorithm, so that you can really identify individual trees from this point cloud. But I would like to write a proposal because there's a larger tree grower here, a kind of plantation, which I would like to collaborate with. It means they are selling trees, they're cultivating trees and they're selling that. But he has a lot of, I think, 200,000 trees or so. So it would be, and that's a kind of playground for us to see with which technologies and which sensors or algorithms or remote sensing we could assess maybe the size of the trees. That's something we'd like to do. Would you please put your microphone on?
Yes.
Or may I?
Yeah. Okay.
So it's just like that.
Yes.
Okay.
And how can I make it presentation mode? You will do it.
Okay, so please let's go on. I'm glad to see you so enthusiastic. No, sorry,
no
right?
problem.
That's what
No.
this meeting is about.
Yes.
That's exactly what we'd like to achieve.
No,
Right,
yes.
so let's please appreciate Ezra's work. So let's see if the microphone is good. I think that works.
So this is up and down. Okay. Hello. My name is Esra. And this is the first time I'm attending one of the FIRElinks meetings. Before I was in online with some webinars. And now I want to talk a little bit about my background and my specific studies about forest. And actually, like you, my background is a bit different as well, but not very unrelated. It's remote sensing. Okay, and the content of my presentation, a little bit of myself, as Saskia has advised us to prepare our presentation, and my current studies with my graduate and master students. And I'm from geomatics engineering department, but there is forest engineering as well. So they have the main studies about forest. My part is about remote sensing, so I will a little bit talk about their studies as well. And what I expect from this meeting and with the FIRElinks, this will be the conclusion of my presentation, but no pressure, of course. Is it not working? No? Okay, yeah. Actually, as I told, my background, my bachelor is surveying engineering or geomatics engineering, and I was here in 2000 with DAAD program in Koblenz, Vermessungsamt. So yeah, it was a great experience, and I enjoyed it a lot. And I decided to be a researcher after that internship. And then I came to Munich for another 3 months with a cognition software company. It was also about segmentation, so they are very good at it. And they sold the program to Tremble in the end. So it's very close to DLR Oberpfaffenhofen. I was also there during this internship, their remote sensing laboratory. And I got my PhD in England in University of Bristol. It was again on image processing in electrical and electronic engineering department with the visual information laboratory. And during my PhD, UK is very expensive. I got funded from IOM3. It's a great institute with materials, minerals, and mining. Also from the Sir Richard Stapley Educational Trust. So I was also funded during that study with the TÜBİTAK. This is Turkish Scientific and Technological Research Council. And I'm also a working group member of another COST project, which is called SenseCo. It's also about synergies of different sensors, but for vegetation observation, and how we can scale it from leaf scale to the big forest scale. In there, I'm science communication co-leader, so I can help GSS on that as well. I had some science communication trainings, so I would help you in that. And now currently I'm a lecturer in geomatics engineering and giving remote sensing and image processing lectures. And also consultant and researcher in Kumi Analytics company. This is a private company in Singapore. They are doing actually biomass and deforestation and carbon sequestration work. The main difference is they are trying to create a big, actually generic cloud-based systems based on remote sensing data. So hopefully won't need big hard disks to save the satellite data. I don't know if you know about G, Google Earth Engine. Yeah, it's great for working with big archives, big satellite archives. So I have 3 children and a cat. So this is a great break for me. Thank you. And this is where I'm coming from, Karadeniz Technical University in Trabzon. So it's just by the seaside and very nice view with the airport and the beautiful nature. And this is my university. It's also like a botanic garden with this, because we have quite beautiful forest engineering and this landscape engineering. They are working a lot. They just planting different vegetation, different plants, nice flowers for their test fields. So the whole campus is like their test area. And this is one of my studies based on forest wildfire. In here, as I said, I'm working on remote sensing. We worked a lot with these indexes. And this one, we used Landsat and Sentinel data and got an area in Australia, in Sydney. There was a big wildfire during 2019 and 2020, I guess. So first got the Landsat 8 image before, after, and during the fire, and radiometric and atmospherically corrected them, got ready to processing. First, we wanted to, actually, the group, my graduate group, wanted to analyze it according to the indexes. We wanted to see again, before and after the fire, how the soil is affected before and after, with these different indices, NDVI, WI, and built area index, clay minerals, ferrominerals, and these ratio of different minerals, and land use, land cover indices again, and also able to detect the flame during the fire, so we can evaluate what's the next step, where it will be going with the MATLAB programming. And then there is this NV change detection workflow. It shows us the change before and after according to some threshold-based methods, also some classification. Another one was artificial intelligence-based, again, similar to your study roles. This is the map after a forest fire in Antalya. We just introduced, actually labeled these areas, like 500, this is quite less for neural network things, but it's an undergraduate study, and it was not, he hasn't got so much time. So we labeled quite a lot, 700 or 1,000 images as burned area, and then labeled it and got the results to this trained data, and got the results according around 82%. That's giving you the burnt area. Yes, like you are just feeding an untrained data and saying that this area is the burnt area. But our aim here is to make a very general and a little bit detailed model. In here we've had RGB bands and some indices as well. This burnt area index. Actually, we wanted to train like the slope, for example, or some meteorological information as well. Then to get a map saying that these are the risky places, prone to the wildfire. Actually, this is the aim of all of our studies. But this is just the beginning, so it was a good experiment for the students. So this is AI-based or machine learning-based. Yes, your ideas. Machine learning-based application of remote sensing data. And these are the studies that are being done in my laboratory. We have also some applications about unmanned aerial vehicles, but we are using it for creating topographical maps, digital elevation model, trees and plant classification, or creating some orthophotos. Also some image processing for detecting corn, tea, and hazelnut. Our area, Black Sea region, is quite famous with its hazelnut and tea production. Actually now it's also time to pick hazelnut products. So we have done some studies about this, some projects. Another thing is time series analysis with dot times. This is good to create some phenology for these crops, products, so we can help authorities to say the right time to pick these products. And also some studies on flood risk assessment and simulations on the rivers of this region. Also some medical image processing, the glaucoma project, and image fusion, SAR and optical image fusion, and some image processing like punch sharpening. Also, I have done some studies, MSc study about persistent scatter interferometric SAR. It helps us to find the risky areas, which are prone to the erosion, so it gives us the displacement. And then some hyperspectral image classifications and dimensional T reduction. These were all the studies done in geomatics engineering department. So what happens in forest engineering lab? Dr. Turgay Dindaroğlu is organizing Antalya meeting, I guess. So Ertuğrul Bilgil also, Professor Ertuğrul Bilgil also, another the lead of this group. So they work on fire behavior prediction systems, fire weather index systems, and fuel type modeling. So they also do some studies about before and after fire, the soil, how soil get affected. And there is a very brand new project just accepted about forest fuel mapping and fire risk danger potential assessment system. So this will try to create a new model on mapping the risky areas about forest fuel mapping and fire risk danger. And I want to talk and inform you about this International Fire Training Center in Antalya. This is, I don't know if they will take you to this place, but this is a great place for training. So there is this pentathlon areas for training the firefighters with trucks and all these playground for them to understand and to try what are they gonna do, how they should behave in case of this kind of hazards. So they do also press operation training as well. So all set up fires according to the plant type and the region. Also doing research and training. This is a scene from Calabrian pine experimental fire in Keshan. Yes, and for future studies, I want to combine this remote sensing data with the other complementary data like drone, LiDAR, or UAV data. And because I'm just a fan of G, so I want to guide my students to use that forest information and carry it to the G environment. Yes, and that's it. Thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for attention. You're welcome. Yeah, thank you.
Please stay a second.
Yeah, of course.
I have a question. So you are working with object detection, right? So
Yeah.
you labeled your images yourself. Did you ever try to do an image segmentation, so with masks, that you get the actual border of the fire lines?
We haven't done it with fire lines or in a forest, but we are doing it for land use and land cover types.
Okay.
Trying to get or with the sea border, sea line, with the coastline detection.
Yeah.
Yes.
And did you compare? You said you have this. I've never heard of it. This burning area index, something.
Yes, there is a burning area index.
And you merged that information, or you fused it with RGB images,
Yes.
and that must have improved the prediction much
That's
better.
right. That's right. Yes. These indices, this burn area index and other advanced burn area index or other type of build indices. They are helpful to for the detection of these burns in the forest.
Great.
So when you combine all together, for this, I call them complementary data. If you combine them, create new bands in addition to the satellite original bands, helps a lot for the detection.
Machine learning, you would call it feature engineering, right? You're
That's right.
combining
Yes,
somehow.
features. So you create your features and then play them
Which
around.
is okay.
That's right.
That's what we do. Thank you, Esra.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you all. I think now it's time for. Do you have any questions or remarks so far? So, I think it's now maybe time for lunch. I would like to stay here to organize a bit the video conference with the company and some other stuff. And I think we should start again at 1 o'clock here. Yeah?
Can we leave here our computers?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think I can lock the door. Anyway, I will probably stay here in the room. Yeah. I'm fine with the stuff we have here. It's okay for now. To survive, it's good enough. Thank you so much. Simon, ich weiß nicht genau, ob die Mensa geöffnet hat. Kannst du sonst ein bisschen... Ja? Sonst könntest du ja vielleicht noch ein paar gute Tipps geben oder so, Downtown. Aber ihr könnt ja vielleicht zusammen mal, wenn du sie mitnehmen würdest, mal Richtung Mensa und ein bisschen erklären, wie es geht. Das wäre super. Kannst du es machen? Cool, okay.
So who's hungry?